Why would your muscles choose the less efficient fuel? Glucose gives you less energy than ketones, yet your body always picks it first. The shocking reason lies in survival, not logic. And it changes everything you thought you knew about metabolism. Hey, my name is Mark Bates. I'm a metabolic health coach. This is my video on optimizing metabolic health, an evolutionary perspective. So let's get into it and get some answers. Why your muscles choose inefficient energy. Your muscle cells make a choice that defies biochemical logic every time you move. They prioritize glucose for immediate contraction despite ketones yielding significantly more ATP, which is the general unit of energy that your cells make per molecule. This apparent inefficiency puzzled me until I examined it through an evolutionary lens. The answer reveals something profound about how our bodies actually prioritize survival over textbook optimization. Part of the reason is speed. There's a paradox in terms of cellular energy. I've spent years analyzing muscle and genetics, and the glycogen preference becomes clear when you understand cellular geography. Muscle cells contain approximately 5,000 mitochondria compared to a few hundred in fat cells, and mitochondria are where the ATP is produced that provides energy to the cell, right? So despite this massive ATP producing capability in muscle cells, muscles still choose glycogenolysis for immediate energy needs. That means they choose glycogen over fatty acids. The reason lies in transport limitations. ATP molecules are relatively large, and the concentration gradient between mitochondria and cytoplasm remains low because purines flood the entire cell. This creates a transport bottleneck that becomes critical during rapid muscle contractions. Evolution solved this with the phosphocreatine shuttle system. Creatine, and yeah, you've heard about creatine if you've talked to anyone who does any bodybuilding. Bodybuilders love creatine. Acts as a molecular taxi, rapidly shuttling high-energy phosphate groups from mitochondria to contraction sites. Phosphocreatine stores position themselves strategically in the cytosol, right where energy utilization occurs. This system delivers ATP regeneration faster than direct transport ever could. The evolutionary logic becomes obvious. Survival situations demand immediate power output. A lion doesn't wait for optimal ATP transport when chasing prey. But there's a problem here because you can overconsume protein. Most fitness enthusiasts consume double or triple the protein their bodies can actually utilize for muscle building. I regularly encounter athletes eating 3 to 4 grams per kilogram of body weight, believing more equals better results. The research tells a very different story. Muscle protein synthesis plateaus at approximately 1 3/4 or 1.75 grams per kilogram of lean body mass. Studies show that cutting weightlifters maintain complete muscle mass at just 0.73 grams per pound during severe caloric restriction. So this is when the weightlifters are trying to cut fat as much as they can before a show. Beyond this threshold, excess amino acids trigger gluconeogenesis. The liver converts surplus protein into glucose, raising blood sugar and stimulating insulin secretion. This seemingly minor insulin increase activates a cascade that undermines fat loss goals. Insulin blocks lipolysis in fat cells and increases malonyl CoA production, which inhibits CPT1. This enzyme controls fatty acid entry into mitochondria for oxidation. The result? Your body shifts from fat burning to glucose utilization even on low carbohydrate diets if you don't want to get too much protein. This demonstrates the Randle Cycle in action. Glucose and fat compete for oxidation at the cellular level, and glucose always wins when insulin rises. Insulin resistance is an evolutionary protection for us. Conventional medicine views insulin resistance as a pathological condition requiring pharmaceutical intervention. That's not necessarily the case. I see it differently through an evolutionary framework. Insulin resistance represents a protective mechanism against glucose toxicity. When cells resist insulin, they're essentially refusing excess glucose that could cause metabolic damage. This response isn't dysfunctional, it's adaptive. The problem lies in our modern dietary environment, not our cellular responses. High carbohydrate diets overwhelm the body's glucose handling capacity, triggering this protective mechanism. Forcing glucose into resistant cells with medications like metformin or exogenous insulin addresses symptoms while ignoring the very root causes that is causing the problem: excess glucose. The evolutionary approach focuses on removing the dietary stressors that provoke insulin resistance in the first place. Inflammation as immune surveillance. Every meal triggers an inflammatory response lasting approximately 4 hours. This fact alarms most people, but I consider it essential biological programming. Eating introduces foreign material into your body. Your immune system responds by activating macrophages and releasing pro-inflammatory cytokines to monitor potential threats. This controlled inflammation serves multiple functions: pathogen neutralization, damaged cell clearance, and tissue repair support. Without this surveillance mechanism, you'd be vulnerable to infections from harmful microbes or toxins ingested with food. The inflammatory response remains transient and tightly regulated under normal circumstances. Problems arise, though, when inflammation becomes chronic due to processed foods, toxins, or metabolic dysfunction, i.e., eating too many carbohydrates all the time. Acute post-meal inflammation protects you. Chronic inflammation destroys you. The OMAD metabolic reset. Understanding post-meal inflammation explains why one meal a day approaches offer metabolic advantages. Each eating episode triggers that 4-hour inflammatory cycle. Multiple meals create overlapping inflammatory responses, leaving your immune system in constant activation. OMAD reduces these inflammatory cycles from 3 or more daily to just one meal a day. This gives your immune system extended recovery periods, lowering chronic inflammation markers throughout your body. Extended fasting periods also activate additional metabolic benefits. Research demonstrates that fasting around 24 hours activates autophagy, your cellular housekeeping system. During autophagy, cells break down damaged proteins and organelles, recycling components for repair and energy production. Fasting also accelerates ketosis by depleting glycogen stores faster, shifting metabolism toward fat oxidation and ketone production. The metabolic switch promotes ketone body production, which serves as an alternative fuel for your central nervous system while modulating inflammation and oxidative stress. Okay? I'm going to suggest that you don't go one meal a day and you don't start doing long fasting cycles until you've fat adapted yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to set yourself up to being hungry and not being able to complete it properly, right? And being miserable. No one likes being hungry. Okay, so there is an evolutionary metabolic framework. These mechanisms reveal a consistent pattern. Your body optimizes for survival, not textbook efficiency. Muscle cells choose speed over ATP yield because immediate power output determines survival outcomes throughout human evolution. Insulin resistance protects cells from glucose toxicity when dietary carbohydrates exceed evolutionary norms. Post-meal inflammation provides essential immune surveillance against potential dietary threats. OMAD works because it aligns eating patterns with evolutionary programming, reducing inflammatory burden while activating beneficial metabolic switches. Modern medicine often treats these responses as pathological when they're actually appropriate reactions to inappropriate environmental inputs. The solution isn't forcing dysfunctional responses back to normal with medications. It's removing the environmental mismatches that trigger the protective mechanisms in the first place. This evolutionary framework transforms how we approach metabolic health, shifting focus from symptom suppression to root cause elimination. Your body isn't broken. Your environment is incompatible with your biology. Okay? Understanding this distinction changes everything about optimizing metabolic function for long-term health and performances. Alright, there's a lot to cover. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions, leave them in the appropriate section. Also, check out my group health coaching program. The link will be in the description. It's $10 a month. We're starting it up on October 1st of this year. We're going to offer a lot more detail. We'll answer questions. We'll have live calls for you to ask questions. Check it out. I think it's a pretty good deal, and hopefully it's well worth your time and effort. And as always, this is a community we're building. I want to answer your questions as much as I can. So please, let me know what you want some questions on, and I'll try to make a video for you as soon as possible. I love producing them for my watchers, my viewers. All right, and if you haven't done so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. It helps a lot of people. We do appreciate that, and it helps the channel a great deal. Have a great day.